your forecast first. Sponsored by Matex Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
It's a stormy night. That's a live look. Roofing Dog on at First Mid-Bank. Charleston camera can see the raindrops that continue to fall there and the lightning strikes as well. Then we switch over to here in Champaign, where we've got similar wet conditions here along Neal Street as the rain continues to fall. Storm Tracker Doppler shows still a strong line of storms into portions of Edgar County, stretching down to Effingham. All of this diving to the south and east, but weakening as it does so. All areas basically to the north and west of this line here are looking good, but we're still watching portions of Clark County. And again, you're looking good tonight. It's an all clear Champaign, Decatur, Springfield, Gibson City, Hoopeston, Pana, Taylorville, just to name a few. And then it gets cool tomorrow. Temperatures struggle in the 50s for much of the day. We'll come back and talk more about the cooler air that is in store. WCIA 3 News starts right now.
Now from WCIA 3 News.
We want everybody to be healthy.
And even though one nursing home said it did everything by the book to keep COVID-19 out, the contagion still found a way in.
I think the governor could ease up on the rural areas a bit more.
The extended emergency order has leaders in one community worried. What their mayor says could be hurt the longer this goes on. And we put out the call for masks for first responders. How many of you answered?
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 News at 10.
With this news comes deep sadness.
And it is the news they hoped would never come, but also the news they were preparing for since day one. Good evening, I'm Paul Cicchini. A resident at Clark Lindsay Village in Urbana tested positive for COVID-19. That makes Clark Lindsay the first senior living facility in Champaign County to confirm a positive case. It's a resident in the Meadowbrook Health Center. That person is in the hospital, and it's uncertain when they'll be able to return to Clark Lindsay. WCIA 3's Emily Braun explains why staff feels confident, but also heartbroken.
Since the beginning of March and before the stay-at-home order even went into place, Clark Lindsay Village in Urbana put plans in place to protect residents, employees, and families. Now they feel discouraged that even when they thought they took every precaution possible, they still couldn't avoid a case.
With this news comes deep sadness and disappointment because we want everybody to be healthy. And so when one of our residents is sick, it is like somebody in our family is sick, and so we just wish the best for that person.
Karen Blatzer is the marketing director for Clark Lindsay. She says since day one, transparency has been most important to them because that's what's most important to families.
They know already of all the steps that we've already taken, and they also know that we have our residents' best interests at heart.
Employees were always screened before they came to work each day. Now they'll be screened every 4 hours. And every resident at Meadowbrook Health Center, as well as every employee who's been there, will be tested for COVID-19. Blatzer says with every measure that's been in place, it's unfortunate they got a case, but she feels lucky that they're equipped to handle it.
We are very, very fortunate that Clark Lindsay is in Champaign County because Champaign County has the resources that a lot of communities that are in different cities throughout the United States, they don't have.
In Urbana, Emily Braun, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
The Champaign-Urbana Public Health District has already done an evaluation of the procedures at Clark Lindsay Village. It did not recommend any further changes. Across the state, cases are up more than 2,000 over the last 24 hours. That brings the total to around 48,000. 144 more people have been killed by COVID-19. The death toll is now 2,125. Nearly half of those who tested positive within the last 2 weeks have recovered. The Pritzker administration today appealed a judge's ruling that his executive order violated the Constitution. Now, a second House Republican plans to challenge the governor's powers in court, claiming the governor's stay-at-home order amounts to an effective quarantine that bans people from leaving their homes to go where they wish. As our Capitol Bureau Chief Mark Maxwell reports, the governor feels confident he is operating within the law.
Well, there is no quarantine authority that's being exercised here. There's a stay-at-home order.
One day after a judge in Clay County granted House Republican Darren Bailey a temporary victory against Governor Pritzker's executive power, the governor appeared to soften his language to describe his order to stay at home.
We've essentially authorized essential businesses to keep operating, but we've asked non-essential businesses to close.
But that's not exactly how the governor described that same order when he issued it back on March 20th.
All non-essential businesses must stop operating.
So is it an order or a request? And will police enforce it? And how long can the state ban a healthy person from working in their private place of business? Those are the questions at the core of Bailey's lawsuit challenging the governor's power.
And they can take up the issue of whether or not the governor solely on his own putting out edicts, what I call them, executive fiat to control this situation.
We have so much to do to keep people safe, and wasting our time and effort on these ridiculous lawsuits is something that I think is just, it's something that we shouldn't have to do, and shameful acts on the parts of these partisan actors.
During his press conference Tuesday afternoon, a reporter asked the governor, do you really have that much contempt for the courts or the right of citizens to challenge executive power?
Okay, that's just a ridiculous question. That somehow we're intending to limit people's civil liberties, or that we're intending to take away people's rights. That's not the intention here. The intention, in fact, is to save people's lives.
The governor predicted higher courts will ultimately uphold his order. Still no word on when state lawmakers might return. Reporting in Springfield, Mark Maxwell.
The governor's next executive order is set to take effect Friday. Today, the governor said his stay-at-home order is still very much in effect. Yesterday's ruling only applies to Representative Darren Bailey. And the governor's extended stay-at-home order is being met with heavy opposition by the mayor of Farmer City. He wrote a public letter to Governor Pritzker stating his objections and why he believes this will negatively impact downstate businesses long past the COVID-19 pandemic. WCIA 3's Jennifer Jensen has this story.
Farmer City Mayor Scott TESTORY put the council's frustrations into writing in a letter sent to the governor to get his attention to the city's plea.
We've got businesses that are struggling after 30 days of being shut down, and I don't think some of our businesses can handle another month or 2 consecutive months of being shut down.
While the mayor says he understands the required precautions to protect people against the virus, his point of contention with the extended stay-at-home order lies in the requirement of businesses to remain closed. The mayor says he expects tax revenues to decline by more than 40% in the next quarter, causing the city to struggle as a whole. He believes there should be a separation of the regulations between upstate and downstate because of the difference in the amount of reported COVID-19 cases. At the end of the letter, the city stated that, quote, we will not enforce compliance to the demise of our businesses, end quote. When asked for clarification on that, this is what the mayor said.
What I'm not trying to stand behind this is heavy-handed enforcement. You got 2 cultures in Illinois. You've got a metropolitan culture, you've got a rural culture. The rural culture has mitigated this pretty well. We've got cases here and there, and I don't discount that COVID is serious. I think the governor could ease up on the rural areas a bit more than what he's doing.
That was Jennifer Jensen reporting. For context, DeWitt County, where Farmer City is located, has 2 confirmed cases of COVID-19 from 143 administered tests. If the stay-at-home order continues past next month, the mayor says the council will reevaluate how it plans to enforce compliance with that stay-at-home order. Wearing a mask helps stop the spread of germs, but it also is blocking some from communicating. Plus, what do you do if you can't see a loved one in the hospital? These people didn't let that stop them from coming up with another idea. And all Illini basketball commits have signed with the Orange and Blue. The next step is seeing how they'll play together.